Hello, everyone. Okay, it's just me. Alrighty. How are we all doing? Anyone there on TikTok? Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm a few seconds behind today because, there we are. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Red Phoenix Alpha. Hi, Vasileos from Mykonos. Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. How are you all doing? From Doha, Qatar. Fake pump. Okay. Hello from Israel. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Apologies for being slightly late. As you can see, I'm broadcasting from home again today, from my fantastically bare home. I still haven't got round to putting the pictures back up on the wall after we've been redecorating, so hence it's very, very plain. So maybe I'll put on my colourful hat to to bring a bit of colour to the picture. So I'm broadcasting from home today, and I got so cocky after last week that I just didn't think to check the internet connection, and of course it needed resetting. Hi from Japan. God, it must be late over there. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello from Iran. Wow. I am always amazed. I'm always amazed by the international nature of this undertaking. Coinbureau live streams just getting to every corner of the world. Hello from Bucharest. From lots of people from Romania. I always have to give a shout out to Romania because Laura from our office is Romanian. And yeah, lots of people talking about the heat. It is very, very hot here in London, and it's only going to get hotter today. Should say that I'm based in a somewhat cooler Belfast. Okay, well, I'm reliably informed that it is going to get just unbelievably hot here in London next week, and I think I'm just not sure how we're going to cope with that. Someone like the weather app is saying 40 degrees. 40 degrees. I mean, wow. Not here, not today, but next week apparently. But it looks like lots of people joining us from various places are. Mikey B is melting already. It's hot in Italy. I mean, it's always even Scotland hot. No, I refuse to believe that. I have actually experienced a hot day in Scotland once or twice, not very often, but once or twice, and it's glorious. It's weird. It doesn't quite feel right, does it? A hot day in Scotland, but it is a glorious sensation. 36 in Turkey, Birmingham touching 36 on Sunday. Wow, this is. This is basically turned into an extended chat about the weather. I think most people. Hello from Norway. I'm presuming it's a little cooler in Norway, but it may be unseasonably warm there as well. 38 in Bologna. All the numbers today just relating to the temperature. Nothing to do with any cryptocurrency at all. We'll talk about cryptocurrency in a minute. It's far more important that we address the weather situation and how just obscenely hot it is in many parts of the world, but not apparently in Europe. Spain, 43 degrees. Someone's saying fix BTC, please. I'm working on it. BTC, everything is looking. It's not often I do one of these live streams and everything's green, is it? I mean, anyone who's been watching these for the past few weeks or months will know that usually the Coin Bureau live stream heralds a day of red in the markets. But I mean, look at ETH. Look at there are loads of things pumping here. We'll talk about those in a minute. I want to continue talking about the weather. The weather is most definitely in a bull market. Hello from cool Wisconsin, from Malaysia, from Croatia. I've seen a few Croatian shout outs in the chat. Fix the euro, please. There's only so much I can do. How about that? Is the euro now worth less than $1? Because I mean, it was parity the other day, wasn't it? €1 $1. That is crazy. And I saw some pretty amusing memes of what it's going to be like for Americans going to Europe this summer. So watch out, Europe. You've got a lot of very moneyed Americans coming in. Hello from Argentina, from Belgium, another Croatian. Goran, you're more than welcome. The more the merrier. From Zambia. I love you too, BBY77 Inked. How do you pronounce that? Palestine. Wonderful. Wonderful. 30 in North Norfolk. First ODI between England and India was actually shorter than your latest podcast. Aswin, that burns. That burns. I was at that ODI. I was at the Oval. I got there a little late and already we'd lost 4 or 5 wickets. I was annoyed. That's the first cricket match I've got to in a long, long time. And it was basically over within about 6 overs or something like that. But yesterday's was amazing. I didn't get to watch it. I had to follow it on the text, but it looked amazing. What a game. Of course, I missed that one, didn't I? Anyhow, more Croatia, Antarctica. We always seem to get people claiming to be from Antarctica in the comments on these things. Now, I'm beginning to think that maybe you're telling fibs, unless there's some sort of crypto mad community in Antarctica. I mean, I know the world is heating up rapidly, but we don't surely have a crypto community, a community of crypto mad people in Antarctica already. Tajikistan, wow, Ghana, this is amazing. Okay, from Cardiff and sunny Devon. Devon, wonderful. Okay. It's lovely to have you all here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you for starting your weekend with me. I mean, that's what we're doing, isn't it? We're starting the weekend. It's Friday. Next week, we'll have 41 Kashmir, Malaysia. My word. Would there ever be a Quant video, Guy? I know. I haven't covered Quant for a long, long time, but I have been having a look at it recently because I noticed it had pumped an awful lot. So I'm going to talk about Quant a little bit later. I should also point out that I checked back on the Coin Bureau website because I had to refresh myself a bit on what Quant was all about, and I found an article by one of my colleagues, Daniel Kripke, who is a genius, where he was talking all about Quant Network. It's from a couple of years ago, so it's not bang up to date, but it's a really, really good overview of Quant Network. So do check that out on the Coin Bureau website, not our YouTube channel, although I'm pretty sure we have a video about it, but that video will be really out of date, and I will be probably a lot thinner and a lot younger looking. So, just bear that in mind if you're gonna check that out. What do you think of the XRP hype? There was some good news for XRP this week, wasn't there? So, I mean, the judges. So, as I remember, the SEC basically tried to block Ripple from seeing any of Bill Hinman's notes. Bill Hinman, you might remember, the guy at the SEC who all those years ago basically declared that ETH was not a security. Ripple were trying to get access to Bill Hinman's notes, and the SEC just came up with it's just such a weak argument, wasn't it? It really just pathetic argument as to why they couldn't. Unfortunately, the judge just basically shot them down. I think she called it outright hypocrisy, didn't she? She really laid into the SEC. I must say, I was pretty surprised by how weak the SEC's argument was on that point. I mean, the SEC it hasn't distinguished itself at all during this court case, has it? But I mean, this was particularly bad. So I think this is really, really positive news for XRP. Let me just have a look at it. 6.9% in the last 24 hours. I mean, not as much, hasn't pumped as much as some, but that is still very good news for it. If you want, so I covered Ripple versus the SEC in a video a couple of months ago, which obviously is now perhaps a little out of date. But if you still want a kind of overview of roughly where we are on that, then do check that out. And I have to recommend as well another YouTube channel called Legal Briefs, where a guy called Jeremy Hogan has some amazing and much more up-to-date videos on Ripple versus the SEC. So if you want the full lowdown, if you want the latest on what is going on out there, check that channel out. That is Legal Briefs, and the guy's name is Jeremy Hogan. So yeah, great news for XRP. That's good to see, isn't it? That's good to see. And of course, the markets in general are pumping today. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to kick the live stream off after, of course, the obligatory chat about the weather and where everyone is watching from? isn't it nice to kick off with some good news? I mean, let's face it, there is going to be there's some not so good news that we might get to talk about a little later on, but let's focus on the good news for the time being, because there is lots of good news out there today, and it's reflected in the markets. Atul Thakur asking why the market is green. Well, it's okay. I think the market is green for a few reasons. I think firstly, of course, I think Ethereum is lifting the market a lot. I mean, ETH itself has pumped, what, 12 or 13% in the last 24 hours? And that is obviously on the news that the merge seems to be going ahead at the end of September, was it? Now, let me just check my notes here. Yeah, it looks like the merge could actually happen pretty soon. And I must say, like, this set me wondering. It's like, if it does happen, and look, I'm not holding my breath just yet, because this is the merge after all, folks, in case you weren't aware. I just wonder what life is going to be like on that day when we wake up, on the first day that we wake up after the merge. And we just have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do? I mean, how are we going to get by without going at least without saying when merge to ourselves at least 10 times a day? So I think, so this good news around the merge is obviously pumping ETH, and I think we're seeing that reflected in the markets a little bit as well. The markets, it's a funny look out there at the moment, because obviously on Wednesday we had that CPI print in the US, and that was 9.1%. Now, just for a little bit of context, obviously that was the CPI print for June. 9.1% it came in as. The number for the previous month for May was 8.6%, which was already crazy high. But the market was factoring in about 8.8%. That was the expectation. You know how much the market likes confirmation, likes certainty. So obviously everything went downhill when that 9.1 figure came out, because everyone, I think, was a little bit shocked. I mean, there were a few people certainly saying 9%, but I think the general expectation was for, kind of 8.8%, certainly under 9%. And of course, there were a few hopium addicts out there who were thinking, hey, maybe it'll be lower. Maybe inflation will have peaked. I don't think we're going to see that for a while. We've got one Fed meeting coming up. The next Fed meeting is on the 27th of this month, and that is when we're going to get more interest rates. So after the announcement of the CPI print on Wednesday, everyone started speculating, oh my word, we're going to see a 1% rise. We're going to see 100 basis point rise at the next Fed meeting. And the markets basically puked. And I think one of the reasons why we're seeing green today is I think that expectation seems to have been rolled back a bit. We have had some indications that we could actually see a lower rise. We are still going to see a rise, folks. Interest rates are still going to go up. That is pretty much nailed on. It's just how much they go up by. And it looks like there's a fairly decent chance it could just be a 75 bips raise. And the markets being the markets, well, they'll take any good news they can get. So I think, yeah, it's kind of basic. The market has kind of steadied itself out, perhaps thought it just puked a little too much on Wednesday. And I think that is one of the reasons why we're seeing green across the board today. Now, there are a few other reasons which I'll discuss in a minute. But folks, listen, it's green today. That's not to say it will be green tomorrow. We are still very much in the bear market. The bear market is not going away anytime soon. So just factor that in. Be careful of the FOMO. We are still in very volatile waters. I personally haven't bought anything recently. There's a few things I'm looking at, and we can maybe talk about that a bit later on. But yeah, it's still pretty rocky out there. Having said that, it is of course lovely to see some green, isn't it? Okay. Right. How are you guys all doing? Lots of people asking about the need a shave. Oh, there's always someone in the comments saying I need a shave. I think, what's that?
Very unkind.
I know. Yeah, Katie says very unkind. Okay, don't get on the wrong side of Katie. I mean, I think you should sit where I just look sort of weird when I've had a shave. I think I'm naturally a stubbly man. Okay. Wow, more people saying hi from Iran. This is great. I'm glad. Mr. Woody. Oh, hello, Mr. Woody. Do any tree licking last weekend? No, I stuck to tree hugging. I had a lovely weekend last weekend, folks. I went out into the countryside. Katie and I went off to the country. We had a lovely couple of days stay in a beautiful village in Essex on the border with Suffolk. The weather was perfect. We went on nice walks. We had nice dinners. We drank lots of nice wine. It was just really, really good. Anyway, that was last weekend. This is this weekend. Thank you, everyone, for sending those roses, whoever that was. Very kind. Hi from Hawaii. Oh, from Iraq and Hawaii. Wow. Oh, Richard Brown. Hi, greetings from Essex. What a beautiful place. Okay. Okay. First it was Croatia, and now Essex is going mad. Good to see we have lots of Essex people joining us in the chat. Welcome, everyone. And more Romanians. Wow. Okay. Greetings from Chicago. I just wanted to get your opinion on USSD. I presume you mean USDD getting almost back to $1. It's climbed back and holding for a few weeks at 99 plus. Well, yeah, I mean, USDD was at 97 cents for quite a long time. Basically, I'm decentralized stablecoins not quite having a moment at the moment, although I am very excited about the one that Aave is now talking about, the Go stablecoin, GHO, and you can find out a bit more about that in the Aave update that I released yesterday over on our main channel. USDD, I'm just kind of staying clear of that at the moment. That was just at 97 cents for too long, I think. Too long. I don't think it is the answer. I'm not sure it is the answer to the decentralized stablecoin problem at this point. Someone asking about Quant. Yes, let's talk about Quant, because that is another good news story from this week, and I want to focus a bit on the good news stories because there are a few. We saw Quant pumping. Those of you unfamiliar, Quant is basically this very kind of institutionally focused interoperability play. Not a blockchain per se. It's actually this operating system that sits on top of blockchains, this operating system called Overledger. It's very, very smart bit of technology, and QNT has seen a big pump over the last week. Now, I looked into this. I believe you might have remember me mentioning this at the end of the weekly news update on Monday. There were some updates to the Overledger, which I mentioned there. But actually, it looks like the real big reason behind the QNT pump at the moment is this document that came out a few days ago, back on the 8th, I think it was, the Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets, which was published by a number of US government agencies. And this was in response. Oh, wow, that was great. Thank you, whoever put a hat and moustache on me there. This was in response to the executive order that we saw from the White House a few months ago. So why is Quant benefiting from this? Well, it looks to me, reading through sort of various tweet threads and articles on the matter, it looks to me like Quant is going to be pretty well positioned when crypto regulations come out in the US. It seems to have very much got its ducks in a row regarding that, regarding compliance with bodies like the FATF, which you'll know I'm not a big fan of the FATF, or the Bank for International Settlements, which I think is also mentioned. But yeah, it looks like Quant Network is basically being quite a goody two-shoes on that front and positioning itself well. So yeah, if we see those cryptocurrency regulations come in the US, looks like Quant is doing well to get on the right side of those, getting ahead of the curve in that respect. And yeah, I mean, it's a very, very interesting project. It's completely closed source, so there's no way to sort of see what's going on under the hood, which, I mean, is not ideal in my book, but I mean, it certainly could help make it competitive. And of course, it does have this kind of more institutional focus. And actually, the CEO, Gilbert Verdian, is he has got the most insane CV of, I think, pretty much anyone on the planet. It's just amazing. I was looking at it earlier. He's worked for loads of sort of government bodies here in the UK. He's worked for the Treasury Department and things like this. He's also worked in sort of various big banks, and he's got the most amazing load of experience. So Quant Network, very, very exciting. It looks like definitely a project to watch in the coming months, especially as we see sort of more regulations, more talk about regulations kind of take hold in the US. So keep an eye on Quant. And of course, I mean, it's pumped an awful lot, but I remember looking at its chart a little bit earlier. It's still, like most other cryptos, a long, long way off its all-time high. Can it pump a lot more, given that we're in a bear market? I'm not so sure. So be careful, folks. But I mean, I would say that for any coin or token you're thinking about aping in on at the moment. Pumps are not particularly sustainable in this environment. So you need to be aware of that. Okay, BTC to Mars this time, and someone is saying hello from Mars. Well, that's great. Glad to see we're not only international but interplanetary as well. Other people saying we're going to 9K. Do you mean Bitcoin 9K? Good Lord. I have speculated in the past that we could see Bitcoin go a lot lower. And look, folks, we certainly could. I've talked about the 10 to 14K range before. It's certainly very, very possible because, yeah, we're not... hello from tropical Bracknell. The heaven that is Bracknell. Bracknell's got an amazing cinema, as I remember. I don't know how I remember that. Okay, have I bought Aave? No, I haven't bought Aave yet, but as you might have seen from my video of it yesterday, I'm keeping a very close eye on Aave. It really is, it feels like we're having a sort of mini DeFi summer at the moment, doesn't it? Because up until today, basically, up until this kind of recent pump that's affected the whole market, basically the only tokens that were really kind of registering, that were really doing well, were DeFi tokens. And I think there's a few reasons for this. I mean, first of all, I think obviously it's the absolute catastrophe that we're seeing in CeFi at the moment. And of course, this is the moment where we mention Celsius, isn't it? Celsius has finally declared bankruptcy. Was that today, or was that yesterday or the day before? I mean, I don't think people are too surprised about that. Fred, at coinbureau Clips, you're not my father, but can I call you daddy? You may. You have my assent. Okay. So yeah, it's what was I talking about? I was talking about DeFi. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it seems like DeFi is really having its moment, and part of that is, I think, because CeFi is just thoroughly discredited at the moment. Kill Zuma, Uncle Guy, where Lambo? Isn't it usually when Lambo? Where Lambo? I'm afraid I haven't got a Lambo. I'm afraid. There are many reasons why I don't have a Lambo. I mean, I partly think I'd look like a complete prick behind the wheel of a Lambo. And also, like, I don't know, I don't feel, I mean, I can drive, but I'm not a great driver. I'm not one of these speed freaks. I'd be wasted in a Lambo, basically. Katie would have to drive it, and she wouldn't like that, I don't think. So that's why no Lambo at the moment. Greetings from was that from Air Force One, Mr. President? Okay, right. So I was talking about DeFi in general, wasn't I? Yeah, it just seems that DeFi is having a bit of a moment, and part of that is obviously the wreckage that we're seeing in CeFi, and yeah, I think people are obviously with DeFi. You've got people looking for a bit of leverage and stuff like that. DeFi is certainly where you go for that. And obviously, if you are going to do that, be very, very careful, folks. So yeah, it's been good to see. It's been good to see DeFi having a little bit of a moment, because obviously there was a big old wobble when Terra collapsed, and lots of people were unsure about how much exposure various protocols had to the Terra ecosystem. And yeah, but it certainly seems to have recovered. DeFi certainly seems to have recovered a lot in recent weeks. But yeah, I think a lot of that is kind of people just losing all faith in CeFi. And if they have got, if they are looking for leverage, if they are looking for some rates of interest, then a lot of them have migrated over to DeFi. So do keep an eye on that. I just want one BTC for me, so dump a bit. I think a lot of people are feeling like that. A lot of people are. A lot of people, I think, want to watch the world burn, and a lot of people, I think, just want to see BTC dip a little bit more, so as they can ape in. Richard Hart says BTC down to 11K. What do you think? Like I say, I think it's possible. I think we could still have more bad news, on the macro sense. Obviously, interest rates are going to keep going up, so it's not something that I'm ruling out at the moment. And again, this should inform you folks, if you're thinking about buying into anything at the moment, then yeah, the market can definitely go lower from here. That's not necessarily to say that it will, but anyone sort of thinking that BTC is just going to nicely hold above 20K for the foreseeable future, you could be a little bit, disappointed on that. So do keep an eye out, folks. Do be careful. Okay. Thoughts on Richard Hart? I must say, I've heard the name. I'm not too familiar with Richard Hart. I've heard that name a lot, but yeah, that's really all I know. Okay, will the bear market be here all year? Quite possibly. I mean, we seem to be racing through the year, doesn't we? I mean, we're already in mid-July. Where did that come from? Yeah, the first 6 months of 2022 really zoomed by, didn't they? I really sort of couldn't believe how fast that had gone. So, yeah, I think bear market until the end of the year at least. I keep seeing a lot of these articles saying, the kind of white swan events that could lift crypto out of a bear market and things like this. Things like obviously the spot Bitcoin ETF, successful merge, Ripple winning its case against the SEC. All of these would be great news in the short term. I don't think any particular one of them can pull crypto out of a bear market yet, because remember, folks, this is a bear market in everything. And I wanted to talk about this a little bit as well, because I've noticed, especially over the last week or so, and I think this is probably tied in a lot to Celsius finally going bankrupt, and obviously all the other, the Voyagers and things like that going bankrupt as well, Three Arrows Capital. I've seen a lot of articles in the mainstream media. There was a very interesting article actually yesterday in the Financial Times about the collapse of Celsius, a kind of insider look at the collapse of Celsius. But yeah, lots of mainstream media articles at the moment kind of bashing crypto, which is par for the course. We all expect that. We're used to that. But there do seem to be an awful lot of them at the moment. But not only are they always getting details wrong, which, let's face it, only nerds like you and me would spot, but yeah, they seem to be forgetting the fact that everything else is down as well. Lots of other markets. I mean, has anyone seen the Peloton share price recently, or the Netflix share price, or the Shopify share price? It ain't just crypto, folks. It ain't just crypto. Markets everywhere, stock markets have taken an absolute pounding. Anyone who invested in Tesla or Meta or anything like that recently, they're going to be sitting on some pretty hefty losses as well. So, yeah, bear in mind, folks, that crypto is still inexorably tied to what is happening in the wider markets and in the wider world. And there is still a lot of stuff going on out there that is going to keep markets low for a while. So although it'd be lovely to speculate, it'd be lovely to see the successful ETH merge, and then an accelerated transition to sharding. And although it'd be lovely if the SEC came out and approved a spot Bitcoin ETF tomorrow, neither of which are going to happen in the next few months or so. The pump would only be temporary. And even if we had a successful merge, a spot Bitcoin ETF, and Ripple winning against the SEC, I don't think that pump would last, folks. I think the markets are cyclical, and we are stuck in this bear cycle for a while. And as I keep saying, that is not necessarily a bad thing. We are still in the process of flushing out a lot of that leverage, flushing out a lot of the crap from the system. It's necessarily a painful process, and it can be very, very frustrating when your portfolio just keeps going down or sideways and nothing particularly exciting happens long term in the markets. But folks, this is a natural part of how the markets play out. So don't fight the bear. Don't fight the bear. Just go with the flow. Go with the bear. It'll come to an end in due time, and that will be the moment. So, take heart, folks. Take heart. Can Aave ever go to 30K? Good Lord. I mean, Aave can certainly pump a lot when the next bull market comes around, but 30K, that is a big old pump. So I'm not so sure. That said, I do think Aave is an amazing project, and obviously it's one of the top DeFi protocols. And as I said a few moments ago, DeFi is really having a moment at the moment, isn't it? Can Binance fail and shut down? Look, nothing is too big to fail, but Binance is certainly one of these companies that seems to have really ridden out the bear cycle very well so far. And if you've heard CZ talking about it recently, he's saying it was hard to do things like turn down Super Bowl sponsorship and all this sort of stuff. But it looks like Binance has kept building its war chest, kept a good amount of cash on hand. Binance is hiring, folks. We've seen job losses across the board. We've seen people. We've seen Coinbase getting rid of people. I saw OpenSea has just announced that it's getting rid of people as well. But Binance is hiring. So look, nothing is too big to fail. But Binance certainly appears to be in a very strong position at the moment. But that does not mean to say you can keep all your coins on Binance. If you are keeping a lot of crypto on any exchange, be it Binance or any other, then you should be thinking very seriously about moving it to your own wallet, be it a hardware wallet ideally, or a software wallet as well. I know I bang on about this every live stream, folks, but it's really, really important. So do bear that in mind. And yeah, lots of people, of course, asking about Ripple and XRP. And again, this latest news in the court case is really good news for Ripple. As I said in my last video, though, this court case is just one of those ones that just drags on and on and on. So I'm not expecting, even though Ripple has had this really good news in the last week or so, I'm not expecting that court case to end at least before the end of this year. So do bear that in mind. But yeah, again, if you want the absolute update, the absolute latest on what's happening with Ripple and the SEC, Legal Briefs YouTube channel is the place to go. Let Jeremy Hogan's wisdom wash over you. He is a very, very smart guy, very, very in the know. What are your thoughts? You sound like Will Buxton. Who's Will Buxton? You don't mean Adam Buxton? No, I don't know. I don't know who Will Buxton is. I can only assume he's got a wonderful voice and is extremely handsome. Sorry about that. Right. So what else are we talking? Lots of people asking about Solana's new phone. I've seen some headlines about it, but again, I haven't. It's sort of passed me by a bit, Solana's phone. But I mean, it's an exciting prospect, isn't it? And it's interesting to see that, at a time like this, that Solana is experimenting with new avenues like that. So I think this could be something we look back on and think, wow, that was a pivotal moment. So do keep an eye on that, and do keep an eye on Solana as well. And I must remember to read up on the Solana phone, because it keeps sort of passing me by. J3130, can I ask about your hat? Yes, Jay, you can. What would you like to know? I mean, it's wonderful. It's colorful. It makes for, a nice sort of contrast to the sort of dull red wall behind me. And yes, I agree. I do look fantastic in it. Thank you very much. Katie in the background, just like... So a few people asking about Sweatcoin as well. I was looking into Sweatcoin. So yeah, I mean, Sweatcoin is obviously not a cryptocurrency yet, but it is going to become a cryptocurrency in September. And you can download the app and you can start walking and you can start earning Sweatcoins ahead of that. Now, am I right in thinking, someone might be able to put me right on this, am I right in thinking that users in the US can't download the Sweatcoin app? Is that right? I think I heard that somewhere. Put me right on that, someone. Yeah, nevertheless, when I looked into Sweatcoin, I was really surprised to see how many users it had, whether it's available in the US or not. It really seems to be a popular project, and so I mean that bodes well for when it does become a cryptocurrency in September. Bricks and Slides, where are you from, mate? I was born in South London, and I've spent pretty much my whole life there. I know I don't have a South London accent. I don't know what happened to that, but you know, I can't help it. So yeah, there we are. Nice to see you live, guy. Thank you, One Woman Circus. It's nice of you to join me. It's nice of all of you to join me. And yeah, it looks like XRP lawsuit will be filed by October. Okay, well, I hope so. And I hope it works. And you know, I hope we get the right outcome. That would be great. I mean, that would be really, really good news for the market. I still don't think it would lift us out of the bear market, because no one factor can, but it would certainly be good, and that would position XRP really, really well for the next bull market. And yeah, it's exciting times for Ripple at the moment. But yeah, God, it would be nice to get this court case settled, and for XRP not to be a security, wouldn't it? Because I think that would bring that would be really good news for the rest of the market as well. And yeah, the SEC just needs a beat down, doesn't it? We're all sick of Gary and his gang. A lot of people asking about Matic as well. Obviously, the recent Matic pump, I think Polygon has been pouring a lot of money into development in general, but also pouring a lot of money into attracting developers over from Terra. And I remember seeing, in fact, I did a video about it on TikTok earlier this week. A lot of Terra projects have migrated across to Polygon, which was I mean, it was good, very good news for Polygon. Bear in mind, folks, Matic has seen a lot of sell pressure recently, because Polygon is basically funding all this developer growth by selling the Matic token. Okay, and there is I remember reading Matic is not due to fully vest until 2025. Now that could change, but at the moment that seems to be on the roadmap. The last big vesting cliff for Matic was back in April, and the next one is in October. So bear in mind, we could see a lot of new Matic supply hitting the market around October. So do be wary of that, folks. Polygon is an excellent project. I hold Matic as part of my portfolio, and it's obviously Ethereum's leading layer 2, and it's had some really good news this week attracting, because let's face it, actually, you know, one thing that's sort of fallen a little bit by the wayside in recent weeks is that there were some really, really good projects building on Terra. Terra, you know, obviously we got caught up in the fact that in everything that Quant and everything had been up to in this collapse of UST, but that shouldn't disguise the fact that separate from Terra, there were some great projects building on it. And so Polygon, I think, has done well to attract quite a lot of those over. So yeah, could you repeat where you go for Ripple legal updates? Yes, the YouTube channel is called Legal Briefs, and the guy who runs it is called Jeremy Hogan. So yeah, have a look for Guy. Please make podcast with Benjamin Cowan. Yes, I must chat with Ben at some point. He's great, isn't it? I want 10K Matic. Kenny, there's lots of things we want. I'm sure lots of people would like a 10K Matic. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one, Kenny. But yeah, Matic certainly has had a very good week or so. Now, listen, I just want to. I was talking about Terra earlier. You know, I don't really like to talk about Terra anymore. But listen, folks, obviously everything is pumping at the moment. We've also seen pumps for Lunk and Luna and UST. Just, folks, don't touch any of that crap. Okay, do not touch it. Don't buy any of them. It's speculation. It's gambling. If they are pumping, it's probably manipulation. Please just stay away from all that, folks. We all need to have learned our lesson from that. So please. Okay. Now, what else? Guycoin. I don't think the crypto market needs Guycoin. I think we're doing all right without Guycoin, aren't we? Yeah, I don't think we need that. I don't want to sell you guys a token. No, you mean too much to me. Okay, so have people got what are people's weekend plans? People asking about the Celsius bankruptcy. Yeah, again, I think not all that many people are all that surprised to see it. What does it mean? Well, it means that with luck, Celsius users will get their money back, but folks, it will take a long time because Celsius users, they are not going to be first in line for when Celsius is unwound. The sort of creditors at the top of the line will be the institutions, will be the people who put in a lot of money into Celsius. So actual Celsius users could be waiting a long time. Could they be waiting as long as Mt. Gox users, which is now what, 8 years or so? I really hope not. I really hope we've moved on from that, because obviously there is still this question of Mt. Gox bitcoins hitting the market. I know a few people are concerned about this. Certainly there is a concern that we could see a lot of BTC hitting the market because of Mt. Gox. There are a couple of reasons why I'm not so sure that this will have much of an effect. Firstly, I think a lot of that BTC was basically bought as debt. So I think a lot of institutions have approached Mt. Gox users over the last few years and basically agreed to buy that BTC from them at a much reduced price. So I think a lot of that BTC will already have been hoovered up kind of as debt. And therefore, when that hits the market, it will instantly be taken off into institutional treasuries here and there. So I think that is one factor that could limit any sell pressure fallout from Mt. Gox, from those bankruptcy proceedings. The other part of it is, I think, okay, let's say you're a Mt. Gox user and you do get paid back in BTC. Are many of them? Okay, certainly some of them. Are all of them going to sell that BTC when it's down 70% from its all-time high? I'm not so sure. I think perhaps a few will, but I think a lot of them will probably just hodl, and if they've got any sense, sort of borrow against it. That's what they'll be being advised to do, I think. Not that I'm a financial advisor, of course. So yeah, I'm not all that concerned about Mt. Gox Bitcoin hitting the market, but it's certainly something to keep an eye out. But I don't think that will have quite the sell pressure. Great cap, says Mark from Worcester. Mark, you are a style king, sir. Yeah. Okay. This is fun. I'm glad you guys are having fun. Okay, and have you got, Guy, you need a moderator? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Pie Hunter. Dead cat bounce at the moment. Could be. I think, yeah, I think the markets being as they are, we could certainly see a retracement in the next few days. So as I say, folks, be wary of that. Okay. What else did I want to talk about today? I've talked about DeFi having a moment. I've talked about all those anti-crypto articles in the mainstream media. Yeah. One thing to be. Oh, I want to give you some recommendations for more content, folks. The content that you can't just get here. So one of the not the latest issue of Bankless, which I haven't had a chance to listen to yet, but a recent Bankless issue, Bankless the podcast, recent Bankless episode with Lynn Alden. Came out this week. I had to listen to it the other day. It is fantastic. Lynn Alden is such a clever woman. She has got some great macro analysis, and she's chatting to the Bankless guys. And she gives some really good reassurance. She gives an excellent picture of what's going on in macro terms at the moment. Some really good alpha there. So I thoroughly recommend Bankless with Lynn Alden. That's an episode from this week, if of course you haven't listened to it already. Okay, and Unchained as well, the Laura Shin podcast. That's been some. She's just on a roll at the moment, Laura Shin. Some really, really good episodes in the past few weeks. So do check, just check it out. Check the podcast out. Check out some recent episodes. I can guarantee there'll be at least a couple in there that you'll just have to hear straight off. So check out Unchained with Laura Shin and. What Bitcoin Did, which, as you might know, is another one of my favorite crypto podcasts. Just the latest episode, turning garbage into Bitcoin with a guy called Adam Wright, is just fascinating. So interesting. Bankless are a bunch of snobs. No. The Bankless guys are great. I don't know them personally, but they're great, and I really enjoy that podcast, obviously. And yes, Don, Laura is great as well. So those are 3 recommendations: Bankless, Unchained, and What Bitcoin Did. And yeah, I mean, all episodes are great, but yeah, that recent episode of What Bitcoin Did, turning garbage into Bitcoin, is, I won't spoil it for you, it's just absolutely fascinating. So do check that out. Now, what else was I talking about? I wanted to, I was chatting with some Coin Bureau colleagues earlier, and we were speculating on some other reasons why the markets could be pumping at the moment. And one of them pointed me in the direction of something that I'd completely missed, actually. US politicians have just passed a $900 billion defense spending bill, which is both impressive and kind of absolutely terrifying at the same time. $900 billion defense spending bill. And my colleague was speculating that probably, a fair bit of that money could find its way into various people's pockets and then into stocks and perhaps even crypto as well. So that could be, that news coming out could be pumping the market a little bit. And I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? We're pretty much guaranteed to be heading into a recession. Interest rates are going through the roof. Inflation is going through the roof. And it seems like the US government is still spending money. And I mean, $900 billion, that's a lot of hardware. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of that, on the business end of some of that. Apparently that includes like a pay rise for US troops, of which there are quite a lot, and also a minimum wage for federal contractors as well. And obviously the federal government is a big employer over in the US. So $900 billion just announced in the US for defense spending, and that some of that could certainly find its way into crypto. Someone asking, when KDA video? Cardano, I looked into Cardano a while back. I haven't really covered it properly yet, so I will. Cardano is on my radar. I noticed it has slipped down a bit, but I'll keep my eyes open for Cardano. Someone saying hi from Scotland. Hello, sir. Hello. Always good to have some of our compatriots from north of the border. I talked about the Mt. Gox releasing BTC next month. I'm not too concerned about it. There's a few reasons why I don't think we'll see too much sell pressure from that, but certainly something to keep an eye on. Lots of other people. Hi from the Isle of Dogs, from Denmark, the Isle of Dogs, and Pakistan. What a varied collection of viewers. This is wonderful. So, and hi from Ascot. Oh, I was supposed to go to Ascot recently. A good friend of mine, had a winner at Ascot the other week. He was extremely pleased with himself. It was very, very annoying. But then he had owned that horse and spent a lot of money on it for quite a while. Romania, Bulgaria. We're so well represented with Romanian fans. If I go over to Romania, will you guys roll out the red carpet for me? Have I got a big fan club in Romania? I love the fact that so many of you are tuning in. Hi from Florida. I was in Florida back in May. It was my first time. What a great place. I only saw Miami, but I'd love to go back to Florida. What a place. That place is just on. It's Florida is in a definite bull market, isn't it? Florida's going crazy. So much investment there. Like, everyone just seems to be moving to Florida. So from Israel, from North Idaho, where can I watch your podcast full with video? I don't think we put out the full videos of the podcast. I just generally do clips from it. yeah, I mean, you can listen to it. You can listen to the podcast in full everywhere. But yeah, we just sort of put out clips from the videos, really. If people would like to see the full videos of the podcast in due course, bear in mind we have to cut quite a lot out of the podcast because Mad Mike Mooch is not above making some very, very off-color jokes, which then have to be edited out. And our video editor doesn't have time to keep up with editing out all of Mad Mike's wrong-uns, if you like. I should also say, folks, and I'm sure you'll join me in wishing him the very best. Mad Mike is getting married tomorrow. That's right. Mad Mike Mooch, my podcast co-host, is getting married tomorrow to an actual human female. Yeah, I know. Anyone who's experienced Mad Mike in any way, shape, or form will be as surprised as I am. But yeah, not only that, but she's actually a really wonderful girl as well. So congratulations, Mad Mike. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to pass on your. It's because you look Romanian. Do I look Romanian? That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you very much. What does a Romanian? Okay, well, this is what a Romanian looks like. Is it the hat? Is it the? I don't know. Romania must be a very handsome. Romanians must be a very handsome bunch. So yes, thank you everyone for wishing Mad Mike the best. He will be delighted to hear that, and I'm sure he's got some rude reply for you. Okay, how are we doing on time? Goodness me, it's getting towards 4 o'clock. But what was I going to talk about as well? So we've had good news for Ripple and XRP. We've had good news for Ethereum. We've had good news for Quant Network. Someone asking if Quant Network is Mad Mike or Magic Mike. It's Mad Mike. Don't get them confused. If you see them side by side, the difference is very, very obvious. How come you seem so sober? I mean, it's Friday afternoon, but I haven't started drinking yet. I am going to go out and have a couple of drinks this evening. I mean, I generally like to say sober for live stream. I try my very best to be professional, guys. I know I fall short a lot of the time. I haven't had the reason I look so sober is I haven't had a drink yet. I am lining one up. Okay, what should I have? Has anyone got any suggestions? What are the big drinks in Romania? Someone asking what my favorite drink is. Guy is not single. He's mine. Katie begs to differ. Don't mess with Katie. Can we please get an update video on the progress of DeFi growth on Cardano? May I ask which project there has your attention most? I covered Cardano quite recently. There's a few projects that I'm looking at. Obviously, I think I've mentioned Ardana before, and also Meld, I think, was another one. So a couple of my colleagues here at Coinbureau are very, very big in Cardano DeFi, so I will consult with them as well because I haven't really looked much at Cardano since I covered it a few weeks ago. I found an interesting thing on Twitter the other day, actually, relating to Cardano and a few other projects in general, which mentioned GitHub developer activity, and Cardano came out. Oh, Palinka is the most favorite drink in Romania. Tell me about Palinka. Palinsa. What is it? What's in it? Is it Amrut is good whiskey? This is what gets you guys going, isn't it? You guys know almost as much about booze as you know about crypto, it would seem. So GitHub developer activity. Now, you should always take these stats with a pinch of salt because, what counts as a GitHub commit? There's all sorts of Palinka is dangerous. Okay. But I noticed that Cardano was top of that league of GitHub developer activities, 542 commits. Then it was Ethereum, then it was Cosmos, then it was Elrond, then it was Polkadot. Polkadot and Kusama were even, tied in fifth place. And then we had IOTA, we had IOTA. Do you remember IOTA? God, I haven't looked at that for a while. Palinka is fire in the neck. Okay, I'm not going to touch this Palinka stuff. However you pronounce it, it sounds dangerous. I do lots of Git commits to make it look like I'm working. So Lee, all right. So Do you think that's what the guys at Cardano are doing? Do you think sort of Charles Hoskinson is sort of, they all reckon Charles is watching them and they're just committing as much as possible, so as he all thinks they're working? Mind you, he's been in the, I know, is he in the Gobi Desert or something, doing one of his things where he rides around on camels and sort of has an eagle and stuff. He's a strange guy, isn't he? I mean, he seems to be a real animal lover as well. I think he's got a herd of bison, Charles Hoskinson. I know that when I eventually meet Charles Hoskinson in the flesh, my first question is going to be bison related. And he's going to be thinking, what, isn't this guy supposed to ask me about crypto or something? Isn't he going to ask me about what's happening on Cardano, what my favorite Cardano DeFi project is? And all I'm going to be able to ask him is about his herd of bison, or is it buffalo? Yeah, okay, so we have to take the Booze Bureau. Shall I start Booze Bureau as a sort of as a separate channel? We've got Coin Bureau clips already for, you know, places like live streams and sort of shorter videos and stuff like that. And I've been chatting with some of my colleagues. We've got a lot of ideas for other content that we're going to do over the next few months here on Coin Bureau clips, maybe a bit on TikTok as well, and also maybe on our main channel. We've got some fun content ideas that we're sort of knocking around with a bit. Other stuff that we can kind of drop into our videos. So we'd be very interested to get your feedback on those when we drop them later. So do keep a lookout. For some of that. But yeah, so shall I start a separate channel where I just talk about booze? No mention of cryptocurrency. I mean, look, it's a bear market, folks. We have to diversify, don't we? We all have to get our side hustle on, even those of us in crypto. So maybe Booze Bureau would be one of them. Actually, my soon-to-be sister-in-law refers to Coin Bureau as Coin Biscuit and has suggested in the past that I should have a separate channel called Coin Biscuit, where I just talk about biscuits. So we could do Booze Bureau and Coin Biscuit. And that will take up all what's left of my free time. And yeah, I mean, maybe we can combine the two. What biscuit goes best with what particular? But I mean, this is a content explosion heading your way, folks. So be ready. Okay. I would love Booze Bureau, Bison Bureau as well. Make drunk leverage trades, Daniel. No, don't make leverage. Okay, don't make leverage trades. Don't make drunk trades, and especially don't make drunk leverage trades, okay? Anyone who's tuning in for some alpha today, there it is, okay? Don't do that. Booze and biscuit, don't go. Do burgers and booze, okay? Beer and crumpets, oh my word. Oh, that would be great. Bison Bureau, wow, that's amazing. Okay. Hi, hey, Guy, how's your mental health at the moment? Why? Are you just asking that out of politeness, or do I seem to have gone completely unhinged in the last few minutes? Biscuit coin. Macy Bureau. Yep, Macy would be all over that. Cheers from Twickenham. Don't get married drunk. Yeah, good idea. Palinka, it's a strong drink, kind of vodka made of rotted plum. Can I scroll back through those comments? Yeah. Oh my word. Okay. Fermented. Yeah, fermented. Yeah, I think so. Rotted, fermented. But Katie is onto the idea of Palinka. Am I pronouncing it right, by the way? All our Romanian fans. Cheers from Cyprus. Thank you, everyone. ETH pushed my bicycle over. Okay. No, Katie is very camera shy. Katie's like, I'll support your endeavors as you go into cryptocurrency, Guy, but I'm not, you've got to be the one on camera. But she gives you all a big wave. And she's especially pleased that people are joining from Scotland. Yeah. Yeah. Katie was born in Scotland. She's absolutely delighted that some of her fellow North Britons are joining in. That's right, Palinka. Okay. So, I mean, palm wine is cool. Ken, I've heard, is that Arak? I've heard palm wine is a friend of mine. Spent a lot of time in Ghana years ago, and I think he got on the wrong side of some palm wine. Someone asking about Tim's and poutine, because I mentioned that in a video yesterday. No, I must admit I haven't had Tim's and poutine. I put that reference in obviously because it was a reference to Canada. So anyone, Tim's Tim Hortons coffee, and poutine is, I was told about just yesterday as I was about to film the video. It sounds like a heart attack on a plate, and I know that's rich coming from someone from the land of the full English breakfast. I've never had Tim's and poutine, and I don't plan on doing so either. But yeah, I mainly did it to poke fun at to wind up one of my Canadian colleagues. I was reliably informed that would set him off, and it did. So that was great. Okay, people from Sweden, Bitcoin conference in Edinburgh. I'd be up for that. Katie would go to that. Okay, Katie's going to host a Bitcoin conference in Edinburgh, and it won't be about Bitcoin. Okay, lots of people still asking about the heat in London. It's all right at the moment. It's very muggy. It's very sort of close, but apparently it's going to get absolutely crazy in here. Have you ever had a parmo, a delicacy from Middlesbrough? No, Lee, tell me what a parmo is, please. I have to know. Elias Rosa's asking about Rune. Yeah, I love Rune. Thorchain, Thorchain's an amazing project. I've speculated a few times about Thorchain. I think, as we see regulations tighten, as we see these, crackdowns on unhosted wallets and things like this, Thorchain is a project that I'm very, very bullish on in the long term. I should say that I hold Rune. Rune is a part of my portfolio. I think it's an excellent project, so do check it out. I've done a few videos on Thorchain, so do check that out. Has Jed actually left Stellar? Not as far as I know. I understand that this is Jed McCaleb. Jed McCaleb's, I think he may have finally sold all his XRP, or I think the people tracking it were like, any moment now, Jed's XRP will run out. The Coin Bureau could host its own Bitcoin conference. Let's be honest, it'd have a head start on credibility. Thank you, Daniel. That's very nice. Well, we hosted our own conference back in May. Macy organized all of that and did an amazing job, especially amazing job to time it just before Terra collapsed. I couldn't believe how lucky we were on that respect, because I think if we'd held that a week or 2 weeks later, the sentiment would have been markedly different. So yeah, I mean, we are certainly thinking about doing another Coin Bureau conference in sometime in the future. We were considering maybe going over to New York. I must say, I am fully invested in the idea of an Edinburgh conference now. Maybe wait until the Edinburgh Festival is over. Hoping Hope, hey guy, move to earn video still going to happen? Yes, we're still working on that. We're just I'm just kind of chatting it over with the guys now and just sort of seeing how much we expand the scope of it. It just seems to be one of these things that it's got a little bit held up, as that we wanted to focus, get a few other more timely videos out. So yeah, we are still working on a move to earn video. So it might be next week. I need to check the schedule for that. But I've got a couple of guys helping me out with the research for that. So yeah, watch this space. I am a Romanian and I love haggis. I mean, that is just coming together of two of the greatest things on the planet. I love haggis as well. And I'm a big fan of Romania, because Romania seems to be a big fan of the Coin Bureau, given how many we've got watching. So maybe a digital conference. That's not a bad idea, Scott. Although I must say, like, one of the things that I most enjoyed about the Coin Bureau conference back in May was the opportunity to get to meet people in the flesh. I mean, it's lovely to be able to be on here and chat with you guys and interact with you. But I must say, there is nothing better than meeting Coin Bureau fans in the flesh, shaking their hand, doing a selfie with them, and just kind of chatting about crypto and hearing all about them and how they got into it. So yeah, we could host a digital conference, but I must say, like, any opportunities to sort of get out there in the real world and meet you guys would be much better, I think. So yeah, thoughts on UK crypto market if Sunak is PM? Yeah, that could be good, because so for those following, has anyone been keeping an eye on the soap opera that's British politics at the moment? I talked about this last week. Last week, just as we were going live, just before we went live, Boris Johnson actually resigned, and so British politics update for the last week. Basically, everyone in his party has been sort of lining themselves up to try and replace him. a Conservative Party leadership contest. Yes, that is as exciting as it sounds. And I mean, all of them are kind of nuts in their own particular way. But Rishi Sunak, who was the Chancellor until he walked out, until he resigned, he has sort of his promotional video is hilarious. Ready for Rishi. I mean, politicians are just cringe anyway, aren't they? But Rishi Sunak certainly seems to be going for king of cringe. But I will say this for him: he does seem to be switched on to the idea of crypto. He does seem to have some sort of understanding about it. We did recently see some indication that we could be getting some crypto, some well thought out stablecoin regulation here in the UK as well. So if Rishi Sunak does become leader of the Conservative Party and does indeed become Prime Minister, that could be good for crypto in the UK. I'd certainly be a bullish move in the short term. Aldroyd, British politics. Yeah, British politics is a soap opera at the moment, and not a very well written one. You still talking, brother? Yes, yes, I am. God, I've gone on long. Guy, have you considered a series on crypto in politics, like interviewing with politicians who support oppose? That is not a bad idea. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens with this. Let's see what happens with this leadership election, and whether we do get some pro-crypto politicians. Obviously, we've got lots of pro-crypto politicians in places like the US. It would be great to sit down with Cynthia Lummis and maybe Kirsten Gillibrand as well, chat with them about it, and I think that could be a really good idea. Yeah, let's. I'm gonna think how we can make that happen. Sunak said it was to make the UK a global hub for crypto asset technology, with plans to ensure firms can invest, innovate, and scale up in the UK. Well, yeah, very nice. He certainly making all the right noises, which is great. So, I mean, let's see how that pans out. I mean, he's got to win first, and I think he's the favourite. He seems to have the most votes at the moment. But I think Penny Mordaunt, who no one had really heard of before, she seems to be coming up on the rails, coming up on the outside. So, yeah, it could get spicy over the next few weeks. Yeah, let's see what happens there. I wonder if his wife pays tax on crypto gains. Doesn't seem to be a big fan of tax, does she? Which is bad, seeing as our husband was the Chancellor. Yeah, that was a bad look. So, I mean, yeah, he was basically a shoo-in to be the next Prime Minister. And then everyone found out that his wife wasn't paying any tax on the vast amounts of money she was earning on foreign dividends, which didn't go down too well, kind of soiled his brand, which is not what someone like Rishi would like to see. That Rishi dish is now being served at the local curry joint. Is it? I bet it's pretty cheesy then. Okay, all right, folks. Enough of the dad jokes. Okay, so videos to watch out for coming up on the main channel. We've got a video on these fires at food processing plants in the United States. That's coming out tomorrow. I've really put my tin hat on for that one, folks. Conspiracy Central. So I'd be very interested to see what you make of that. I've also got a report on the latest Fat F report. That's basically me just ranting about the Fat F a lot. That's coming out on Sunday. It's a bit more nuanced than that, don't worry. That's coming out on Sunday. And then I'm going to spend some of this weekend and a bit of next week just looking at what is going on in China. Because, like, I know I've been talking about it a lot, like the Federal Reserve has been having massive effect on the crypto markets. It's very much a big part of what's happening at the moment. But we really need to keep an eye on what is going on in China as well, because I mean, yeah, there's been some crazy stuff. Did you see that that there was this attempted bank run on a bank somewhere in China, and they were beating protesters, and then these protesters had their COVID passes turned from green to red. I tell you what, that is one dystopian place, China. And I mean, yeah, I've talked about things like Evergrande and stuff before. I've talked about China's GDP reporting before, because you just cannot trust the statistics that come out of there. But yeah, folks, I mean, all our eyes have been on the Federal Reserve, what's been going on in the States recently and in Europe as well and other places. but China is a big part of of the global economy as well. And what happens in China is going to be really important. So I'm going to spend a bit of the next few days kind of trying to dig in and make sense, see if we can find out what is going on there, and maybe make some sense of that, because yeah, that is real crazy stuff. Okay, was there anything else that I wanted to talk about today? I don't think. I mean, there was a few interesting things. I see a CryptoPunk just sold for $2.6 million. That's a new high. And this is crazy, isn't it? Like, on the one hand, everyone seems to be, interested in NFTs, and crypto in general seems to be dropping off a cliff. On the other hand, you've got people still buying CryptoPunks for 2.6 million. Whoa, it's Guy. Whoa, yes, it is. It's me. Yes, it is. So yeah, let's all go get drunk. It's the weekend, Daniel. I think you're right there. I think you're right, sir. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? The other thing I wanted to speculate on, again, this is speculation a little bit as well, but perhaps one of the reasons why we've seen crypto pump over the last few days is basically what's happening in countries. Well, we've got terrible stuff happening over in Sri Lanka at the moment. We've also got a lot of runaway inflation. I mean, if you think inflation is bad in places like the US, the UK, and Europe, Turkey and Argentina are two places. I mean, they are certainly in Argentina. They're used to runaway inflation. But I think one of the things that could possibly be driving this latest pump and accounting for a lot of crypto buying in general, I think, is perhaps sort of middle class, relatively wealthy people in places like Turkey and Argentina, and perhaps to a lesser extent places like Sri Lanka, basically looking to get some liquidity, to liquefy a lot of their wealth, and maybe take it out of the country, because I think a lot of people will be thinking, with runaway inflation and also lots of unrest in places like those I've just mentioned, they may well be thinking it's time to get the hell out of Dodge. So I was chatting about this with a couple of colleagues earlier. I think that could be something that may be driving the pump, is that you've got people in countries that are looking more and more uncertain, basically turning to crypto. And this is one of the amazing things about crypto, isn't it? I mean, someone could quite easily, quite theoretically, sell all their possessions and stuff, turn it all into Bitcoin, put it all on a hardware wallet or even a mobile wallet, and just leave the country and journey somewhere else, and then access all their wealth from there. All they need is to have their seed phrase. So it's amazing what crypto can do in that respect. Oh, someone from Argentina can confirm. Is that what a lot of people are doing? Are a lot of you guys in Argentina buying crypto? If so, what crypto are you buying? Are you just buying BTC and ETH? Are you getting into alts? What about people in Turkey as well? And is there anyone watching from Sri Lanka? Is there anyone joining us from Sri Lanka? Because it's been crazy over there, hasn't it? Okay, it'd be interesting to know. Quant must be the one to bring it all together, eh? Well, yeah, as I said earlier, Quant has had a really good week. Looks to have a lot of its ducks in a row if crypto regulation comes to the US. So do keep an eye out on Quant. And I think at some point I'll have to do an update video on Quant Network, because it has been a very long time since I last covered it. If the interest rate goes up, will that be bearish for crypto, Guy? Yeah, I think it will be bearish for everything, really. Again, we're in this weird state with interest rates at the moment, because we know interest rates are going to go up, not just in the US, but everywhere. The only place they haven't gone up weirdly yet is the EU. And I've speculated on why this could be. Basically, so many EU countries are in debt that if they put interest rates up, they could really shaft them. But I mean, even the European Central Bank is going to have to raise interest rates pretty soon. Even the Bank of England. I mean, they didn't do it much. I think the Bank of England is a bit behind the curve on that. Anyway, short answer is yes. Interest rate rises are going to be bearish for crypto, because it means that people sell out of assets to pay off debts which are becoming more expensive. And first assets to go are usually risky ones, and obviously, as we know, crypto is one of the more risky assets, stocks as well. But really the question is not, are interest rates going to affect, it's how much interest rates are going to go up. And this I think I'll finish on this. So it basically, yeah, we could see a 100 basis point rise from the Fed later this month, but people are speculating a lot, so we don't really know. But yeah, it's not the fact that interest rates are going to go up, because they are. It's how much they go up by. That is what's really making the difference at the moment. So yeah, I saw the video. Worrying times. Yeah, it is worrying times, folks. It is. But listen, long term, as I always say, long term, the horizon is much better. But you do need to think long term at the moment, folks. Short term, it's going to be a little bit dicey. But hunker down, stay positive, and yeah, remember, as I always say, if crypto's getting you down as well, just step away from it for a few days. I've seen so many people saying this. This isn't just me. Like, everyone in the crypto space is saying. Even Lynn Alden was talking about it on this Bankless episode that I was listening to yesterday. You know, it's really important to look after your mental health at a time like this. And sometimes just looking at your crypto portfolio is not good for your mental health. So close it, go for a walk, take some exercise, get some fresh air, spend time with people you love. It'll all look a lot better after that. Very important to do. Okay. So, folks, I'm going to go off and start my weekend. The dude took my rug. Really tied the room together, man. Do you think the dude? Do you think Jeffrey Lebowski would be into crypto? Do you think? I like to think that the dude probably discovered Bitcoin. A few years after that movie was made, the dude discovered Bitcoin, and he just forgot all about it. And now he's sitting on like hundreds of millions, and he's bought more rug, and he's just bought all the rugs in Los Angeles. What do you think? Sorry for those of you who haven't seen The Big Lebowski. One of my favorite films. That's a good thing to do this weekend, unless you're out enjoying the sunshine, or maybe if you're sheltering from the heat. Check out The Big Lebowski, one of the greatest films ever, in my humble opinion. So going to go and meditate now. Good on you. Get on the sesh, guy. I think I will, Callum. I think I will. Thank you everyone for joining me this week. It's been a pleasure as always. Hey, I think, am I right in thinking we have got through a second consecutive live stream without any internet downtime? Is that right? Am I right? Wow, I will be delighted if that is the case. If anyone hasn't seen The Big Lebowski, get out, go watch it. Yes, absolutely. That's your homework for this weekend, guys. And tell me next week, is Jeffrey Lebowski, is he a Bitcoiner now? Or has he just gone in all in on alts? Has he gone crazy on some dog-related meme coin? Or has he launched his own kind of bowling coin, Lebowski coin? Maybe there is one of those out there. Okay, that's quite enough for 1 week, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all next week. Lots of videos coming your way. Keep a lookout here on Clips, here on TikTok, over on our main channel. I'll be posting on Twitter as ever. I'll be putting photos up on Instagram, and yeah, all the places, all the things. Basking his rug. I'm going to go and get my rug back. So thank you all for joining me, folks. Have a lovely weekend. And if it is hot where you are, take care. Lots of water, lots of sunscreen. Don't take any risks. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous world out there, folks. Keep cool in the heat. Okay. I'll see you all next week. Thank you, guys. Okay. I'm gonna log off from TikTok first, and this time I'm going to be bit of favoritism for Clips. Ciao, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a splendid weekend. Have I ended the stream?